Southern trees bear a strange fruit, blood on the leaves and blood at the root, black bodies swinging in the southern breeze, strange fruit hanging from the poplar trees.
Pastoral scene of the gallant South, the bulging eyes and the twisted mouth, scent of magnolia, sweet and fresh. Then the sudden smell of burning flesh.
Billie Holiday's Strange Fruit is a powerful song that has been preserved through decades. First delivered in 1939 in a jazz and blues style by the famous singer Billie Holiday, the song captured the horrific violence that African Americans faced in the post-slavery era. Holiday was known for unique phrasing and tempo arrangements in many of her songs, and Strange Fruit was no exception, with each word strongly enunciated and set to the tone of a dark B-flat minor key. The haunting words that Holiday sang touched many of those who heard it live. The song uses metaphor, rhythm, symbolism, and juxtaposition to expose what was happening to African Americans at the height of racial tensions, leaving the audience with the scarring image of a dead corpse left to rot in the searing sun. At first glance, it's easy to see that the strange fruit is a metaphor for the African American people that have been lynched and hung on trees. The blood on the leaves and roots can be taken literally, as the blood of the victims would be left on the trees. But there is a deeper meaning, as the tree is not only a literal figure, but a symbol of lineage. In Strange Fruit, Maripol uses this symbol to depict the image of several generations of African American families experiencing this violence and suffering. At the root are the ancestors, the slaves that endured revolting torture and brutality. And at the leaves of the trees are the generations that are still suffering, enduring the racial prejudice and cruelty that their ancestors had experienced as well. Strange Fruit has gained national recognition since its initial debut in the 1930s. Since then, the song has been covered by numerous artists, and even though it has been 77 years since Billie Holiday first delivered her haunting version of the song, it continues to preserve its message, forever passed on generation after generation. Strange Fruit was significant in that it discussed a highly taboo subject. It was the first time an African American artist sang such controversial lyrics. Its words painted such a gruesome truth of what was really happening at the time. The countless lynchings that occurred in the peak of the 1900s would be forever transfixed in the lyrics of the song, an eternal reminder of America's troubled past. The man who wrote Strange Fruit was an English teacher from the Bronx named Abel Maripol. Maripol was also a poet, social activist, and amateur musician. He initially wrote Strange Fruit as a poem in response to a postcard of a lynching that disturbed him, and later added background music to go along with it. However, it was Billie Holiday that catapulted Strange Fruit to fame. Billie Holiday was an American jazz musician and singer-songwriter based in New York. Though she lacked a formal music education and her range of voice was restricted, she became well known for a distinct way of using phrases and tempo to emphasize ideas of her songs. Her style captivated audiences. When she was first introduced to Strange Fruit, she was extremely reluctant to sing it, fearful of the retaliation that could come with it, and also because it reminded her of her father's death. Her father had a terminal condition and was rejected any medical attention because of prejudice. It was ultimately for this reason that she chose to sing Strange Fruit, albeit having hesitations at first. She felt the song would help bring awareness to the injustice and horrors that African Americans were facing. The song references the lynching of Thomas Shipp and Abraham Smith, two African American men that had been convicted of armed robbery, rape, and murder. The predominantly white crowd full of men, women, and even children beat the two men to a pulp and dragged them outside where they hung them on a tree. A photographer named Lawrence Belter took a picture of the lynching and later turned it into a postcard, Being such a public display to even women and children, the people will become acclimated and desensitized, allowing such a gruesome crime to continue generation after generation. In the post-Civil War era, after slavery ended, African Americans were still extremely oppressed. They had been legally granted citizenship and rights such as being able to vote, but this only caused white Southerners to feel more threatened by their newfound power and more anxious about possible retaliation. In Tennessee, a violent cult called the Ku Klux Klan formed. The KKK sought to enforce white supremacy, and they violently lynched and beat those who stood in their way as they attempted to purify the human race. The dominant members included the white Southerners that passed Jim Crow laws in their respective states, disabling African Americans from being able to access public areas such as educational institutes, transportation, restaurants, and stores. They ensured that even though African Americans had been granted equal rights, they would forever remain second-class citizens. Music has always played an incredibly important role in many historical protests. It seeks to unite, enlighten, and empower. For a group of people to sing together as one unit, they form a sense of solidarity, a purpose. All of them sing for the same cause, and all of them seek the same justice and goals. Music used in protest is a way of immortalizing the struggle for the past, present, and future. Songs are passed down from generation to generation. They may rise in popularity and cycle throughout different eras, but each time they are brought up again, the original message of the song conveys the same feelings and goals. For those that are oppressed, music can be a cry for help to the outside world. It can reach places far and wide and bring awareness to their pain and suffering. Outsiders who hear these songs may hear a call to action and seek to help the repressed group. Music is one of the most powerful forms of art. For something that is not tangible, music is extraordinary in the way that it can touch every soul, move nations, and transcend all of time.